B1 family, welcome to Black Logic. Good morning. Didn't broadcast yesterday, so I was going to do it early this morning and knock this one out. Wendell Pierce. Now, first and foremost, I want to give the brother his accolades from his movies and TV series prowess. He's a very phenomenal actor, very intelligent guy, seems to be. But Wendell Pierce needs to go and sit his ass down somewhere when he's talking about politics. And the reason for this is, well, before I get into the commentary family, I want to just give the brother his accolades again. He's a very phenomenal actor. We've seen him in a lot of things. Most notable is The Wire, as well as Suits, and also his part in Jack Ryan's, he was some sort of spy or something like that. But he always plays a cop or a detective. His roles are really generalized. He's never been the headliner of any show or any movie, unfortunately, for his career is concerned. But we don't need to know anything about his political views or where he stands. But I just want to show you again, just giving him honor and some of the achievements he's made. Recently, he's in this show called Elizabeth, where again, he's playing a police chief, same sort of role. Other things you might have seen him in is Power Book, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, Upgrade Soul, Chicago BD, Suits, Clemency, One Last Thing. Don't forget, he has a large portfolio of different achievements that he's made when it comes to a lot of the TV shows and movies. But when we're talking about Wendell Pierce, he's been on the scene ever since Obama really started to run for the presidency, especially his second term. He was out there bootlicking, help spreading the word that Obama's the best choice for the candidacy. And quite recently, he did an interview on CNN, and it was a performance because he was getting triggered, he was getting angry, frustrated at anything that was anti-democratic. And we're going to go over that video, but there's another video, very short, that I want to show you guys. This video is about 12 years old, and this is when he was coming out in support of Obama.
I recognize him from his roles on HBO's The Wire and now the series Tremaine. He's also been in movies Waiting to Exhale and Ray, many others, of course. Actor Wendell Pierce, who's here in Charlotte with us this week. And he is talking about political festivities, but you're very much involved here. You're an activist. You're into politics. You and I met 4 years ago because you were very much active in the campaign 4 years ago. What brings you back now?
Well, for me, President Barack Obama. Some people a generation ago would have said Robert Kennedy was the person that inspired them and got them involved in politics. And for me, it was President Barack Obama because I saw him putting into policy things that I needed to see in the community.
Like what?
One, first of all, a call to service, people getting more involved, making sure that we had things to support the middle class, because I saw an idea of people hoarding opportunity and only my kids go to school and only certain people get access to opportunities like jobs or education or whatever, and he's expanded that. That goes against the whole idea of what America is to me, because more opportunity, more education, it means more innovation, more ideas, and growth. And so that's what inspired me.
I saw you on the convention floor last night, and you and a number of actors, musician, activists, will.i.am, Rosario Dawson, to name a few, really have been very much involved in bringing his message to young.
There's something, family, that I want to point out. Anytime the Democratic Party is looking for support from black voters, and now we have this new attack on black men because they noticed that a sharp decline that a lot of black men are either opting out of voting altogether or they're voting for the Republican Party. And some people will even agree that Donald Trump is not their candidate, but the values, the views, and some of the policies that the Republican Party embodies is something that they're looking more forward versus this sort of chaotic liberal outlook on life where everything is equal, everything is genderized to a certain degree. And you have people on the magnitude of a Wendell Pierce who is out here bootlicking and trying to charm and manipulate, coerce, and trick black people using his star power, using his fame in order to convince people to once again vote blue no matter who. And when asked the question, what policies, what policies, and this is again 12 years ago, what policies have Obama put into place that will significantly, change or metamorphosize the black community into something prosperous? He said a call to service. You know, and I know that's a big nothing burger. It means nothing to nobody, a call to service.
Young people. 4 years ago, there was a different vibe, and people were very excited, very passionate. When you travel around, you go across the country, do you see that same kind of enthusiasm? I mean, what do you need to get people out there to vote? Because I think that is the main concern of the campaign.
It's very important. You know, what you have to realize is that the last campaign was so aspirational and inspiring. It's very easy to get caught up in that and the emotion of a campaign. And then you have to roll up your sleeves and get into the conference room and open the whiteboard and get to work, the nuts and bolts of actually getting policy done. And sometimes people turn off to that. They don't realize that you really have to dig down deep and focus on that. And so we have to realize that that's what the president's been doing over the past 3.5 years. And now reminding people that the work he has been doing actually has an impact on their life, and explaining that and making sure that that message gets out, and that's the thing that affects communities, and it's the thing that inspired me as a small business owner to start a new grocery chain, Sterling Farms, and go into underprivileged and underserved communities and bring fresh food initiatives. That came from the White House, literally. The president and Mrs. Obama asked American enterprise to get off the sidelines and join the fight, and that's what I'm doing as a small business owner also.
Talk a little bit about the community of New Orleans, because...
So basically, family, the point of this video is to point out, ever since Obama's second term, Wendell Pierce has been on the political scene trying to convince black people to vote Democrat. It really doesn't matter the candidate. If you notice that a lot of these people that they bring out the woodwork, the Democrats, and again, for a disclaimer, I'm not a Republican, I'm not an independent. I'm very apolitical, so I look at things very neutral through a neutral lens. But when I continue to see the same trend, and it has worked, it has tricked, convinced, influenced, manipulated black folk to continue to vote Democrat. And we have not seen any significant change within our communities. Well, I take that back. We have seen significant change, and that change has been the gentrification, which is now the new modernized redlining of our neighborhoods, okay? And some people are for it. My thing is, when you change the demographics of a neighborhood because you come in, instead of renovating and requiring maybe, some additional regulations to keep the properties beautified, you tear them down and you raise the price 1,000%. So the folks that used to live there can no longer live there. You move them. And that's the same thing that redlining did to a certain degree. It separated neighborhoods to a point where once we separated the neighborhood by a train track, a highway, a road, whatever the case may be, and then we congregate everyone in one particular neighborhood and have you guys bunch up, the creating of ghettos, right? We understand this. But this is what this brother is for. The same party that takes us along for the ride for 2 years or so as they're running for the next presidential or next Senate or next Congress or next Supreme Court justice. And as soon as they get what they want, you hear nothing from these politicians again of any sort of legislations, policies, bills, executive orders, anything that would significantly change the black community. Because I remember at the Democratic Convention, Wendell Pierce, and I'm going to jump ahead just to hear a little bit, family, but we're still going to go over the video that he was on recently with CNN. It states here that actor Wendell Pierce gives message to black men. There's blood on the ballot box. It states here that Wendell Pierce issued a strong message to black men. And this is the attack on black men that they've really been targeting black men because they already believe they have the black woman vote. Black women are some of the most committed Democratic voters at over 90%, where black men have decreased to around like 83%, if I'm not mistaken. But he was stating that he's reaching out to black men and during the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. There's blood on the ballot box. Remember those who died in the rivers of Alabama and Mississippi? For them, do the honor and vote, Pierce said. And again, they're talking about his roles in The Wire and Suits. And here's the thing. These are very popular shows that they know black people watch and we enjoyed. So they believe subconsciously that you have someone that you watch, you admire, you love their acting skills, you love a lot of the shows they've been in. That is going to somehow convince you that him being on the Democratic Party is going to convince you to go and vote. Because that's what they believe. They believe that black people listen to actors, actresses, entertainers, football players, basketball players, anyone in entertainment. Anyone in entertainment, they believe that these are the spokespersons for black people. Like, we don't have black intellectuals. We don't have people with doctorate degrees in economy and the environment. No, not less. We shouldn't talk to black folk in professions that are respectful and that are scholars. Yeah, we'll get Michael Eric Dyson, because we know he's a bootlicker and we know that he's automatically going to go with the Democratic Party. Yeah. We know that. But we're not going to get anyone else who's contrary to the fact to give us an opposing view. We won't do that. We're not going to put them on air. But nonetheless, though 83% of black voters are Democrats or lean democratically, according to Pew Research Center, President Trump has been hoping to build support among black voters by focusing on black men. His campaign in predominantly black communities such as South Bronx, New York, he came out with a sneaker line, trying to connect with black men over the criminal justice system after his facing legal woes, which in my opinion was very degrading. Okay, that's why I don't take sides here, family. That was very degrading that he was targeting black people, black men with the whole, I'm a criminal too. Look how they did me. Look at my mugshot. And he made some stark comments about it. I didn't have those queued up, but I believe you guys recall. Now, since Biden in his reelection, Biden and Harris announced her candidacy. However, there has been speculation among black communities that black men, listen to this, that black men would not vote for Harris for a variety of reasons, from her history as a prosecutor to concerns that black men would not be open to supporting a black woman. They keep using identity politics and let me guys show you something on my Twitter. Let me pop up my Twitter very quickly here. Let me show you a comment I made quite some time. It's been getting some traction. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is right here. I made this comment quite some time ago. This was back in July. It has over 470,000 views. And I stated, I was wrong, family. Kamala Harris' dad has never identified as a black Jamaican, but has ancestry of Hindu and white Irish, allegedly. So Kamala is 75% Indian and 25% white Irish. And I say that allegedly, right? But nonetheless, it's still gaining traction there on Twitter/X. Because after doing the research, and I know, and I'm not a huge fan, not even a follower of Candace Owens, but Candace Owens did this whole investigation breakdown. I listen to people I agree with. I listen to people I disagree with, because at the end of the day, there's a truth and there's a lie. And a lot of times, family, just because you don't agree with someone does not mean they're not telling the truth, right? And that just means that you are to a point of manipulation where you can't see anything else. You are so far right or you're so far left that you can't see right from wrong anymore. But nonetheless, first and foremost, unfortunately, a lot of black people, especially black men, have been raised by single mothers. So we definitely will vote. We would definitely vote for our mothers in some cases, right? lot of us have great experiences with our mothers, but nonetheless, it's not a sexual thing. It's not a gender thing that, oh, we're not open to voting for a black woman. Yes, we are. We absolutely are. But this is the identity politics that they play to guilt black men, to shame black men into voting for someone who necessarily never identified as black herself. When she was on that cooking show, I forgot the lady's name, but she's like, we're both Indian, right? But why they keep calling her a black woman and not just say, okay, she's Indian and black, or she's black and Indian. They just keep saying, oh, she's black, she's black, she's black. Pierce said, though, there should be no fear among black men to see a black woman rise to the top. Dude, this is so damn disrespectful of Wendell Pierce that he really, really need to go sit his ass down and make a movie somewhere where he can be the leading actor, because he's never done that either. I digress. Any black man, this is him, that has an issue with a black woman rising, him and Van Jones need to go on a date. Wendell Pierce and Van Jones need to go on a date. And I'm not talking about of any nature or any sexual impropriety or anything. They just need to go on a date and both cry. It may be Roland Martin. They have to look at their own inadequacies, Pierce said. What would make you so fearful of someone who was so beloved of you, who was so loving to you? Who is he talking about? Is he talking about Kamala Harris, or is he talking about our mothers? Yeah, our mothers love us in spite of, but he's stating, what would make you so fearful? Who was so beloved of you? Oh, you mean Kamala Harris, the top cop in California, who laughed and giggled of locking up black men because of minor non-violent charges of having weed, of locking up black mothers for truancy? Are you talking about that beloved Kamala Harris? Who was so loving to you? I have no idea what he's talking about. Like your mother and your grandmother and your aunts and your sisters. Oh, see, this is the part I get with him and Van Jones on a date. Van Jones is calling Kamala Mamala, sounds like marmalade, that you cannot be proud and embolden yourself when you see someone from your community rise up. From your community, family. These are the lies of the bootlicking Democratic shills that they put in front of black people who are influential somewhat and famous to trick you to voting Democrat once again. And I'm not stating don't vote Democrat, vote for whoever the hell you want to, but I want you to look at the tactics and strategies from both sides. Who continues to put actors, actresses, rappers, singers, entertainers in front of black folk, and versus people who are specialists, who are leaders of that industry, whether it be the environment, the economy, health, immigration. Where are these black prominent people that we have that they're not speaking to? For them to give us information on who they believe the best candidate for the country is, let alone black folk. We don't get that. We get these people who are just famous. I'll continue. Pierce added that the voters have the right to ask Harris what she has done for the black community, but to do their research, and I always tell family, do your research. He pointed to the $2 billion that Biden-Harris administration gave back to black farmers. Lord, family, and this is why you have to do your research. After they face discrimination from the Department of Agriculture, investments in historically black colleges and universities, and student loan forgiveness. First and foremost, everybody receives student loan forgiveness. It just wasn't for black folk. So there's been no policies that has been specifically for black folk. You know why? Because it's unconstitutional. And that is when we speak about reparations, we speak about lineage, not race. Anything that is predicated or done based on race will not get passed. Okay? If you understand the Constitution, the Code of Conduct, the preamble, all of these things that is the foundation of our country on paper is anti-race to one specific race. That's why reparations would never be given based on race, but it will be given based on lineage that so happen to be one predominantly group of people, foundational Black Americans. But when we speak about these bills that quote unquote gave to Black farmers, then I propose Exhibit A. Black and other minority farmers are getting $2 billion from the USDA after years of discrimination. And let's look into this very quickly. I won't tally here too long. It states that more than 23,000 farmers were approved. Okay, we're talking about right here. 23,000 farmers were approved for payments range from $10,000 to $500,000, according to the USDA, which is the United States Department of Agriculture. Another 20,000 who planned to start a farm but did not receive a USDA loan received between $3,500 and $6,000. Most payments went to farmers in Mississippi and Alabama. Okay, and if you notice up here, he stated something about Mississippi and Alabama. I thought I had that highlighted, but nonetheless, he actually referenced those two states. Okay. Most payments, okay, we went over that. Let's go down here a little bit. National Black Farmers Association founder and President John Boyd Jr. said the aid is helpful, but he said it's not enough. It's like putting a bandage on something that needs open heart surgery. I'll move on. Because when you dig a little bit deeper, Boyd is still fighting a federal lawsuit for 120% debt relief for Black farmers that was approved by Congress, in 21. $5 billion for the program was included in the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 stimulus package. But the money never came. White farmers in several states filed lawsuits arguing their exclusion was a violation of their constitutional rights, which is correct, unfortunately, because we know systemic things have been done solely to Black folk. So again, I believe the Constitution needs to be amended in some regards, but I digress. But the money never came, family. So what is he talking about? See, he hasn't done his research. He does, and like many other Democratic shills, they do these one-liners. They say these certain statements that Black folk need to do their research, because if they didn't know that Kamala Harris has given $2 billion to Black farmers. I just want to see it one more time. I just want to see it one more time. Right here. Here we go. Oh, I messed up again. Give me 1 second, family. Every time you zoom in, something happens. Here we go. $2 billion that the Biden-Harris administration gave back to Black farmers. So automatically, you will have people to believe when they see this. And when he stated that, they gave Black farmers $2 billion cut and dry. The money never came. Faced with the likelihood of a lengthy court battle that would delay payments to farmers, Congress amended the law and offered financial help to a broader group of farmers. A new allocated $3.1 billion to help farmers struggling with USDA-backed loans, and $2.2 billion to pay farmers who agency discriminated against them. These Black farmers never got the money. These Black farmers never gave the money. And if you come down here a little bit, this is Carter, who once at the time in 1939, he had 85 acres of land. Now 65. He said he's getting too old to farm his land, but he said if he receives money, because he hasn't yet, through the USDA program, he will use it to get his property in shape so his nephew can begin farming on it again. Carter said he and his family want to pitch in to buy his nephew a tractor. So the money never came, family. That's my whole point. The $2.2 billion that Pierce stated, Wendell Pierce stated, and this is the thing about actors and actresses, he's probably practices his lines. He don't really have time to read through legislation to see if it got passed or anything like that. You know, he just saw a one-liner, some Democratic person told him about the bill, And of course, he didn't do his research, but he wanted you guys to do your research. So we did. And we found out that that was a lie. Okay. We're going to get into this video. I'm going to read some of your comments here very quickly. See, I got a good brother Volvo and Jay the Informant, P. Wells, the crew, DSB, my warrior brother, Jermaine Anderson, my great moderator. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for joining me here early this morning. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get on yesterday. I'm preparing for a trip here, so I'm going to jump in when I can. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you're a new subscriber, you see how I did that? That's a manipulation. A new subscriber, maybe go ahead and kick that subscribe button. I'm going to read some of your comments here. He's politically ignorant. Absolutely. They're going to have your neighborhood looking like The Wire. Good job, President Goofy. Stop sloganizing. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not voting for, wow, the demon clans of the Republican clans. I like it. Be one to you as well, Casual. Let's see. We got somebody from Kyrgyzstan. I don't know what that's about. All right. They always got to all lives matter us when we're faced for everyone else to get something but us. I agree. I agree, DSB. I bet all them black farmers went out and voted for nothing as they heard that lie. Indeed, they did. You know, you guys tell no lies. I appreciate you guys and the support you have for the channel, and you guys are speaking truth to power. But let's listen in on this video. You know what? Let's build a premise. Can we do that? I like to kind of give the foundation. Again, not to manipulate you guys into thinking my thoughts, but look, let's be real here. Wendell Pierce is just one in a long line of actors, athletes, and entertainers who are trotting out to keep us on this Democratic plantation. Whether it's Beyonce, Diddy, no Diddy, or now Wendell, the playbook is the same. Use celebrity influence to guilt trip black voters, keep us locked in a one-sided relationship when they expect our votes, but refuse to deliver meaningful change in return. It's a rinse and repeat cycle. The Democrats love to promise us everything. Oh, we're going to do this for black folks. He has stated something on this interview, and I'm going to get to it, family, that the Social Security bill was for black folk. Did it say the black Social Security? No, everybody gets Social Security. What the hell is Wendell Pierce talking about? I have no idea. But the Democrats always continue to somehow pander to the black community like criminal justice reform. Okay, that's going to help everybody, but you didn't even get that passed. Healthcare access, like Obamacare or the Affordable Healthcare Plan. Oh, that was a bill for black folk. No, it wasn't. It was a bill for America. So stop trying to racialize everything, knowing that it doesn't target a specific group because it's anti-constitutional unless you use the lineage of a people like they did with the Native Americans. The Native Americans are still receiving reparations, but I digress because we don't have any results from the Democratic Party. And we understand that they control Congress, the White House, and even the courts sometimes. Yet, we still don't have reparations. And even though H.R. 40 is a study of reparations, they still couldn't even get that passed, right? When they had the House, the Senate, the White House, etc., which would have studied reparations, which is still a nothing burger, but they still didn't get that passed. And H.R. 40, family, I don't know if you guys recall, they seem as though that this is a very new bill. It's been refreshed. It's been revamped. Did you guys know that H.R. 40 has been sitting on the shelf around since the 1980s? Every election cycle, they dust it off and they dangle it in front of us as though they're going to get it passed. But it's been sitting, what, 30 years now? Almost 30 years, 25 years. But after we vote for the Democratic Party, you don't hear anything else about H.R. 40. Meanwhile, other communities are securing wins. The Asian community got an anti-hate crime bill passed in 2021, just months after lobbying for it. Well, but what about us? What about Black Americans? Where is the anti-lynching bill that does nothing for us? Because if you lynch someone, that's considered murder. Or if you lynch somebody, that's a federal hate crime. Okay, you're still going to jail. So it has no teeth. Where are the protections from police brutality? Where is that at? Where is wiping away or decreasing the amount of qualified immunity, right? The Democrats are not touching it. And matter of fact, Joe Biden stating that he was going to refund the police, give them more money. And then Donald Trump said he's going to make qualified immunity damn near airtight. So again, that's why I don't tell people, you have to be very neutral. If you're leaning right, you're leaning left, and then you hear me speak, people like to leave because they're like, well, whose side you on? I'm on our side. I'm on our side. And when you choose one of these Democrat or Republican parties, understand they're working out for their best interests, not you, the American people, and especially not Black folk, unless we become a unified, organized group and say, we're not voting for no damn body unless you do A, B, and C. Where's the legislation addressing the racial wealth gap that systematically keeps Black families, keep our Black people from building generational wealth or building any sort of wealth? And let's not forget, Democrats with these open border policies, which directly impacts Black Americans. When jobs are scarce and wages are low, housing becomes even more inaccessible. Who suffers from this? It's us. These actors like Wendell Pierce never want to talk about how immigration policies under Democrats have hurt Black men disproportionately. They just want you to clap your hands and pull the lever for the same party that abandoned us through the post-civil rights era. See, this is deeper than one man's emotional outburst on CNN or Van Jones crying.
I've known the president for years now, and a mutual contact, said that he wanted to speak. I wanted to speak to him. I didn't offer it as a criticism. For me, it was nothing more than strategists in a room saying, hey, what is the best messaging for Black men? I have focused the past 6 weeks of going around the country with a barbershop campaign, right? Going to barbershops to talk to Black men, since I heard this every election cycle, they always say that Black men are siphoned off. And
Okay, family, I must ask you, do white men, do Asian men, do Hispanic men get haircuts? I'm just asking. Because if you notice, they pander to Black folk in this sort of weird way, like we are people from a different planet. Oh, we only talk to Black folk, Black men at the barbershop. We never get talked to in a respectful manner where they're calling out prominent Black people to a town hall and really speak to Black folk. No, we're going to go where they are. Oh, you don't want to expense us flying out, you paying for it, and us having a real conversation. You would like to pander to us. And also what P. Wells stated. I was going to get on this later, but let's go ahead and cover this. Instead of getting the $400 million that they just allotted Ukraine, they just gave Ukraine another $400 million, and of course they already have billions of dollars. Okay, and I might pop that up. I just want to show you the amount of money that they give to other people, and we understand Ukraine is a predominantly white country. But I'm gonna pop this up very, very quickly because I just want to show you the amount of money that this country forks out to other people. Okay, let's see. There we go. I know you guys can see that. Pentagon chief unveils $400 million in Ukraine aid during Kiev visit. So they gave them another $400 million, family. But they don't have that $400 million for the victims of Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene down there in Florida, but they gave them $750. They gave them $750. And I know some economist, I know some smart, intelligent person going to say, well, the American government allots money to different funds in case of X, Y, and Z. Well, let me tell you this. We can reallocate funds and divert those funds that's going to another country. They're fighting their own battles with another country that borders them and help our people first. I digress. But nonetheless, black men, we get weed. Black women get abortions. Ukraine gets $400 million in addition to the billions of dollars they've already received. Good point, P. Wells. Very good point, brother.
I found the most effective way to communicate to the men in those gatherings was saying, what do you want? Vote for what you want. Declare what your values are, and then go out and make the choice on that. Don't consider my candidate or the other candidate. Vote for what you want. And I found it to be effective. What they would say is, what are you doing here? This is the first time someone came and asked that of me. And so I was saying simply, that's not the way to get to folks. What I've experienced in the past 6 weeks is the fact folks want to see, what have you delivered?
Did he acknowledge that it was not delivered the right way?
We actually didn't get into which was better or if it was criticism. It was saying that we were on the same page. We just wanted to clear it. We wanted to make sure that we were on the same page and that we wanted to reach out to folks. And I think it's just a matter of messaging, one way or the other, and that the focus shouldn't be on the criticism or what is perceived as criticism or what is perceived as the right way or the wrong way to get to black men. The first thing is to approach and engage black men, accept the challenge, and get out the vote.
I mean, Coleman, we had you on last week when this happened. You were critical of it then.
Yeah.
And you probably believe, I assume, that there is some movement toward the right among
Absolutely.
black men.
I mean, we've been talking about that not only on this show, on other shows on this network for over a year. Pew has been studying this issue. There is a clear trend among black men towards the Republican Party and away from Democrats. It's not just about Trump or Biden or Kamala. It's about a party effect. And the question is, why is that? I think it's even bigger than black men. I think it's men in general. I think there's something about the Democratic Party
I think it's
that is
significant.
a lot.
It's
probably
insignificant.
20 different polls.
I mean, goddamn, can he finish? See, when you have these Democratic chairs who are emotionally charged, like a Wendell Pierce, this guy's, man, this is much deeper than one man's emotional outburst. This is about a system designed to keep us in check. And they have people like Wendell Pierce as one of the gatekeepers. Democrats have always counted. They have always counted on black loyalty, especially from our celebrities who benefit from this system. But we're done being played, because that's what we're doing. These performative arts, him and Van Jones, emotionally charged, cutting off people. Can that man finish a statement? You just spoke for over 2 minutes and no one interrupted you. Soon as this man made a point, we're done being played. It's time to demand something for our votes, right? You keep saying you need to look at it on your accord of what you really want, and I look on my accord of what I really want. And then when a man comes out and saying, well, black men and men in general are kind of leaving the Democratic Party, and they're not necessarily leaving because of Donald Trump. They're leaving because of values and policies of the Republican Party. And I'm not pushing nobody, any party. Do what's best for you, but you have to understand, why is it they always have famous people who are in entertainment to convince black people to vote blue no matter who? It's time to get something for our votes. Reparations, police reform, economic policies tailored to our communities, etc.
We've had the same conversation going all the way back.
No, actually, it's
into
really
the
a
80s.
phenomenon of
And the fact is, in this election,
the past 8 years.
Give me any candidate who wouldn't want 85% of any demographics vote.
Trump
'Cause that's what
actually
that's
got
what they're
more
doing.
of the black vote in 2020 than
No, he actually got 3
But
points. You're actually right. He got 3 more points. He got 3 more points.
You also think it's
Yes,
not
a
as
trend line.
significant.
A trend line.
Lord, 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 Lord. This isn't about democracy, family. This is about control, controlling the narrative, controlling the conversation, and ultimately controlling black votes. That is what this is about. He's not triggered by anti-democratic rhetoric. He's triggered by the possibility that black folks may actually start thinking independently and voting in our own best interest, not for a party that gives us nothing but lip service. That's what he's afraid of. He's afraid that, oh, wait a minute, if I don't cut this guy off because he's making too much damn sense, black people are going to ponder. Black people are going to think. Black people are going to have intelligent thought and be like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not even voting this term. I'm not going to do it. Or, you know what? I don't like the fact that Democrats are allowing prisoners to use federal funds to get sex changes. I don't like the fact that they're promoting LGBTQ inside of schools to the point where it's in kindergarten, it's in lower grade schools, middle schools, okay? What's going on with that? Can they be their own people until they're ready to make the decision of what they want to be with their lives and their body? And then giving 13 and 14 years old to right to I digress.
And the trend line is not 3 points.
Exactly.
Burying your head in the sand isn't going to fix
fair.
it.
I know, and that's why we're going
It's a
around
real
messaging
trend.
to people.
It's a real
Right, but I
trend.
think the
Obviously,
problem Obama
calling
had.
black men sexist
I think
is
the
not
problem,
going
the
to
problem
fix this
Obama
issue.
had, and I even reacted to it when he did it, and I've been on the other side of when Obama does that. It's the sort of lectury chiding Obama without treating them in a respectful manner. I didn't find that a respectful way to treat anybody, and immediately really pushing hard on identity politics over what do you want as a person, as a not just a man, as a person in American society. And I think there's a part of Obama that is the hope person, and then there's that. And I don't think that's an effective way. I think you're 100%
Well,
right.
I think what he was saying is something that we've all been saying, and that's something that, I mean, as offensive as Donald Trump is to black men, it's very hard for a black man to understand why would someone vote for.
Right.
Right? It's racist actions, it's racist words, it's racist policies, right? And so that was the thing that's in the front. And so what I said was,
Okay, I'm no supporter of Donald Trump. I'm no MAGA loving person, but I just have a question because maybe you guys know this more so than I. When have Donald Trump said anything racist about black folk? When has Donald Trump created any policies that were anti-black? If you guys bring up Central Park 5, duly noted. If you're talking about the housing discrimination, duly noted. But my question is why he was president, because he was president, and his running of president, because then we have to compare apples to apples with Kamala Harris and her targeting of black men and non-violent offenses that she locked up for weed and then laughed about it. Then we have to talk about Kamala Harris' black truancy policy that locked up majority of black mothers. Then we can compare apples to apples. They kind of like, but two negatives make a positive. Okay, so they kind of equal themselves out. But what have Donald Trump said that I may not be aware of that was racist, okay, or prejudice? And what policies did he implement that was that? Again, I'm not stating I know everything. I'm asking the people. Because you continue to hear Democratic shills and bootlickers state how racist Donald Trump is, but when you ask them, which he never was, what did Donald Trump do that was racist? What did Donald Trump do that was anti-black? What policies did he implement? They can never come up with anything. Again, this is one of the ancient old tactics of the Democrats, is to get someone prominent, to get someone well-known, and to spew and repeat these talking points to fear-monger black folk into voting Democrat. And again, I am not telling you guys to vote Republican. I am telling you to listen to both sides and pick which best for you, but do not be manipulated because people are trying to fearmonger you and you guys are not going out and do your own research. This is the BS from the Democratic Party. People like Wendell Pierce.
Was reactionary. I said, yeah, the president shouldn't speak to them that way. Because I have found that something is more effective.
Right.
It was seen as criticism, and that's valid. I don't think that's as much an issue as the point of making sure that we continue to talk to them and get them out to the polls. And the trend that you're talking about is not that, it will not be that significant.
It's on the
Will
margins.
not be, it's on the margins, and those 2 or 3 points may add up to something, and that's why we're engaging black men. That's why the vice president has put out a platform to answer some of those challenges.
This is a key question, actually, because
Real
I wanted to
quick,
ask you
Scott.
that the policies in that. I mean, effectively, she said, I'm going to give you marijuana, I'm going to give you crypto, and I'm going to give you unconstitutional government bribes. If a white
That's not-
Republican politician had done that, we would be.
Hey, family, you see how he slid that in? He said, I'm going to give you weed, I'm going to give you crypto, and I'm going to give you unsanctioned government bribes, because that's essentially what it is to get your vote. That was a good point that he made. Again, these are loans that she's given, not grants, loans.
Being
That-
24/7.
we gotta
That
go,
is a
but
real
Scott-
disservice to an
Yeah,
actual
and-
substantive
and
policy
actually-
platform.
To me, it was completely
Actually,
pandering
Scott,
thrown
that's-
together.
Scott. Okay, young people, regardless of their race, they want to hear about crypto. They want to hear about
It was for
marijuana.
black men. It was stated to be for
decriminalization.
only
Yeah, it was
black
stated
men.
because
And again, we have to understand that CNN allegedly is a Democratic-funded network. So the host had to come in and deflect, had to come in and rescue and state, well, there's young men of all people who want crypto. But he's stating, and I showed this if you guys look at my other broadcast, of the promises that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, quote unquote, stated that they were going to do for black men. But if you read what was written, it was for black men and others. So nothing was specific to black men. But he, again, is pointing out, something very significant.
black men asked, what are you going to do for me? And hold on, Scott. I'm
the loans,
The idea that those
the
are
loans
just
or by
saying
race
that this
is
is what
unconstitutional.
black
it's
men
not-
is, I think, not
it's,
true.
It's not loans for black men. It's
what
loans
it
for
was.
anyone. No, it isn't.
It
No,
was
it isn't.
specifically
She
said.
was
She was
actually
telling
she
this
was
will-
telling you this will be effective for you too.
For
a
you
policy
also.
that I had already put out a week ago, actually a month ago, that these entrepreneurial loans will be beneficial to you. Just like I tell black folks, it is a black policy. Social Security is a black policy. Medicare is a black.
Okay, family. Again, you know what? Let's just do it. I have to leave here pretty soon. My wife is going to be mad at me because she's supposed to be taking me to the airport, but I must look this up. I need to look up the Social Security, and I got to do this in front of you guys. Social Security is a black policy. Let me see what it says here. It says Social Security places a percentage of a worker's pre-retirement income based on your lifetime earnings. How is this a black policy? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys know any white people who may be on Social Security? Because if they're on Social Security, they're getting black money. Then he said Medicaid is for black. It was created for black folk. No, it wasn't. It was created for low-income white people. They was worried about their own. What in the hell is this man talking about? Let me back this up just a little. You got to hear it again, family. This is asinine as hell.
Just like I tell black folks, it is a black policy. Social Security is a black policy. Medicare is a black policy. It is effective and it impacts your community as much as anyone else's community.
All right,
so it is
everyone.
not identical.
Whoa. So again, I don't want to hear the rest of this BS, but basically, he just did a bunch of word salad and then contradict himself because he stated that Social Security and Medicare are black policies, but then again, he stated that it benefits everybody. I'm just going to back it up one more time. I got to hear this one more time. I'm sorry.
Anyone else's community.
All right,
so it is
everyone.
not identity politics.
Thank you.
It's actually, it impacts your community as much as anyone else's community.
All right,
so it is
everyone.
not identity politics.
Thank
It's
you.
So it impacts your community just as well as anyone else's community. But you just said that it's a black, oh God.
Just like I tell black folks, it is a black policy. Social Security is a black policy. Medicare is a black policy. It is effective, and it impacts your community as much as anyone else's community.
All right,
so it is
everyone.
not identity.
Okay, family, I just can't do it no more. The lies are just getting out of hand. Diaz Breeze said, all people benefit from Social Security. I know a bunch of white people on SSI. Absolutely. He just throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks. He just told a fat lie. Okay, that was a little fat joke in there. How dare you, DSB, because that was funny. But nonetheless, family, thank you so much for joining me here early this morning, no matter where you are, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, Alaska. Thank you all for joining me here. And again, I'm not anti-Democrat. I'm not anti-Republic. I'm just anti-lies. These lieticians, these politicians, these actors, actresses, entertainers, athletes that they put in front of black folk, do not let them sway, trick, coerce, manipulate, influence you where you just kind of throw your hands up. Well, I'm just going to vote Democrat because I've always voted Democrat. I'm going to vote Republican because I always vote Republican. Family, if you don't see anything at the dinner table, why sit down? If there's no food to be served, why come? The Democrats invite black folk to Thanksgiving every year. They say bring your own plate, bring your own food, and catch your own ride. And then when you show up to the party, the Democrats are not even there. That is what we get from the Democrats. Be one.